You all stand for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Schwab.
Here.
Mrs. Brewer.
Here.
Mr. Biesecker.
Here.
Mr. Manuel.
Here.
Mrs. Hill.
Here.
I'd like to welcome everyone here this evening in our nice, cool, dark beginning of winter time. And our first item is reviewing and approving the minutes of our agenda. Do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the written agenda?
So moved. Second.
Thanks, Colleen and Maria. Roll call for approval.
Mrs. Hill.
Yes.
Dr. Schwab.
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer.
Yes.
Mr. Biesecker.
Yes.
Mr. Manuel.
Yes. Our next item is approving the October 17th minutes. Have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thanks, Maria.
Second.
Thanks. Any discussion, questions? If not, roll call for approval, please.
Mrs. Hill.
Yes.
Dr. Schwab.
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer.
Yes.
Mr. Biesecker.
Yes.
Mr. Manuel.
Yes.
So next on our agenda is the student spotlight. I'd like to turn the meeting over to our administrative team.
So we have 4 students that we're spotlighting today, 2 from the elementary and 2 from the junior high school. And we're going to start off with Sophia Wood.
Come on over here.
Come on over here. I won't bite, I promise. I can't say anything about Mrs. Lady, but I won't bite.
ate your I had dinner.
So Sophia Wood is currently a 3rd grader student at Bradford Elementary. She enjoys playing with the rabbit and visiting the library to find new books to read. She also likes doing gymnastics and cheering. And this is what Mrs. Fry, who nominated her, had to say about her. I have nominated Sophia for board recognition because she is a constant representation of what it means to be Bradford's best. Sophia is a silent leader in our classroom, following all directions, promptly without any complaints. Her model behavior helps create a positive and peaceful learning environment. Sophia also comes to school eager to learn and never gives up, even when challenges arise. Her resilience and hard work has allowed her to reach goals and grow academically just within a few months. I have no doubt that Sophia will continue to strive for excellence in all that she chooses to do this year. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And our next elementary person is McKinley was nominated by Mrs. Griffith. McKinley Miller is currently a 3rd grade student at Bradford Elementary. Outside of school, she loves playing sports. She plays softball and basketball and enjoys volleyball and golf. McKinley also loves horses and working with arts and crafts. I have nominated McKinley for board recognition because she's a great role model for the students at Bradford. McKinley is kind, well organized, and follows all expectations. She comes to school each day with a positive attitude and is always willing to help in the classroom as well as her classmates. McKinley gives her best effort in everything she does and is dedicated to being the best she can be. Both her academic excellence and kind-hearted personality are proof she is deserving of this recognition. I look forward to seeing more of McKinley's accomplishments this year and know she will continue to work hard and be successful for her future. So congratulations. Then for junior high school, first is Tevin Smith, who's nominated by Mr. Coverman. I would like to recognize Tevin Smith for this month's student spotlight. Tevin is a hardworking 7th grader in my 1st period class. 7th grade class is full of leaders. Tevin always stands out to me. He is always kind and respectful in my classroom. He answers questions and raises his hands and comes in with a great attitude. Tevin is a kid that others can look up to and admire. His hard work and determination helped him obtain an A average in the 1st quarter. Great job, Tevin. Congratulations. And last but not least, it's Scarlett. Come on, Scarlett. How are you today, Scarlett? So, Scarlett was nominated by Mrs. Boland. This is what she had to say. I would like to recognize Scarlett Stinson for this month's Student Spotlight. Scarlett is the daughter of Abby Hopkins and Brandon Stinson. She spends her free time walking her dog and participating in extracurricular activities like powerlifting and agricultural events for FFA. He forgot to say track in there too. So.
And football.
And football, so track's more important, but. She's an excellent student who is always kind, respectful, and willing to help others, and she has a strong work ethic. Great job, Scarlett, and congratulations.
Congratulations.
So, for those of you that are here, you can stay if you want to, or you can leave. But if you do leave, we'd like to get a picture of everybody out in the hall.
Where are you going? You think it's exciting enough?
I gotta go get Thanksgiving food. I haven't even shopped yet. The slacker.
Me either, I'm not gonna tomorrow.
You know my voice.
The last minute sales.
All right. Get all my goodies tomorrow. They'll be fresh.
So Michelle put her stuff first, so, I will be the first, I guess I'll start, and when she comes in here, she can continue. So, we did have our Halloween parties. It was really cool to see all the different costumes and the kids dressed up in the costumes. Kind of amazing how some of the kids were. Kind of, we had Pennywise the Clown down there. She was a little creepy. I think it was very successful. It's always sad to see fifth graders as they start to realize that this is it for them. That they won't have any other Halloween parties or we can move into junior high.
So we can keep going.
No.
Scott said I had to have a training on it. The PTO had their mother-son challenge, a minute to win it time, and there was a good turnout. They had to play games, and they could win prizes, like you'd see the subway cards and everything like that. And like, it's nice to be able to do something like that. We haven't done that since COVID, so it was a good turnout. We had Dark County Arts and Education for grades B, G through 3. I had a little clip where they were actually singing a song about metamorphosis, but I wasn't able to put it in there. So they came in talking about the zoologists came in and sang and talking about metamorphosis and other zoological terminology along the way. Fifth grade went to the Neil Armstrong Museum last week on a field trip, and what they're doing there is they're making the balloons and turning them into rockets where they let go and see how far they can make them go. And then this week also, fifth grade had a book tasting where they get to pick a book, they get to look through them, look at books that maybe they wouldn't look at with different genres, and then they got to eat snacks along the way. So every place that they went, they got a snack to taste as well as a tasting of a different kind of book. Today also the fourth grade made turkey traps. It was fun to listen to some of their logic on how they made some of these turkey traps. This one says free food. We had a group, I'm trying to see which group it was. At Gary Kingston, this one. So what they did is they said they had water outside of the turkey trap that had sleepy medicine in it. So it was to help get the turkeys to go to sleep. And then they had anesthesia. So I don't know if they've been talking to Dr. Schwab and they borrowed all of these ingredients, but the anesthesia that they had inside of there was it wasn't anything toxic for people to eat if they were to eat the turkey, if it got a shot of the anesthesia. So some of their ideas were kind of cute to read, to learn about. They thought maybe the turkey could read the free food where you might go into that trap as well. So it was fun to listen to their logic.
Here, I thought it was a tryptophan that made you sleepy.
Maybe they've had anesthesia, I don't know. And then the first grade also had their Thanksgiving Day parade today, for like Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade, where they all made their balloons and they paraded around the school with their hot air balloons. I guess you would call them that, just inflatables.
They thought it though.
Okay. And this would be the 97th annual Macy's Day Parade. It's only the second annual for Bradford Elementary School though. And then we had the kindergarten Thanksgiving feast today. We had a lot of parents come in today to help get it set up. They had turkey, they had dressing, they had corn casserole, green bean casserole, pumpkin pie, cookies, rolls, cranberries, and it was all donated by the parents. And so they were the ones that led it. It was great to have the great team of parents that came in and did that for the kindergarten. That's it. Any questions? All right, thank you.
So, earlier this month, we were able to send some students to Edison where they participated in the Women in STEM. It's a program to kind of help introduce more girls into some of the fields where they're underrepresented. So we had a couple of our female teachers take these students over where, from what I understand, they had a pretty good time. And then we also had our UVCC First Look Day, in which representatives from the UVCC set up in our gym and introduced their programs to our students. And it's kind of cool because we have some of our own students come back for this, and to hear them talk about their programs and how excited they are about their programs is pretty cool. And it gives our students an opportunity to see some of the possibilities that they have there if they decide to continue their education at the UVCC. And then we had our Darke County Center for the Arts representative. This guy right here was a magician, thank you. Magician, who had a very impactful and powerful message for the students. And then we had our FFA National Convention. Just talking to the students, they had a really good time. I think this is the most students we've ever sent to National Convention. I think I heard Megan say that, so it was a pretty powerful experience for those kids who were able to go. And then our upcoming events. Tomorrow starts our Thanksgiving break, which will go through Sunday. Athletic Boosters meeting at 7 p.m. in the Media Center. On the 29th, we're taking the sophomores to UVCC. From December 4th to December 8th, we'll have our Shaker Santa. PTO will have a meeting on December 6th at 6 p.m. in the Media Center. On December 9th is when our juniors will take the ACT. And then on December 14th, we have a community blood drive.
You're gonna work the clicker for me, because I don't know how it works either, some upcoming athletic events, actually right now, they're probably getting ready to wrap up. Junior high girls basketball is at Covington scrimmaging, tomorrow. The high school girls and the high school boys are traveling to Indiana. They're gonna go practice or scrimmage against Brookville at the Hoosier Gym, which is something I don't think that we've ever done to my knowledge. So they're pretty excited about that. I know Coach Hall and Coach Seedling worked pretty hard with Brookville to get that scheduled because they have a very, very tight schedule to try and get in over there. So we're gonna be doing that tomorrow in the afternoon. We start at noon and we are gonna do like a 90-minute block for each team. So the girls will get 90 minutes and the boys will get 90 minutes. And then Saturday starts the official day of season for the girls. So they'll have their first games. The junior high girls are here against Houston and the high school girls are at Milton. And they have a couple more games next week. Junior high boys will be scrimmaging at Brookville on Tuesday, right? Yeah, it's Tuesday the 28th. And then the boys will open up their season next Friday against Legacy Christian. And then next Saturday, the boys and girls will have another game together. This will be a varsity only. So it'll be just the varsity girls and the varsity boys against East Dayton Christian next Saturday. And that's also our Hall of Fame game. We had football senior night since we last met. We had 9 football seniors, 1 band senior, and 1 cross-country senior this season. So we have Peyton Melbard with his family, Grayson Wills, McKenna Kennedy, Landon Wills, and Eric Keener on the first slide. And then Garrett Trevino, Hudson Hill, Trace Schmelzer, Owen Beechler, Xavier Robinson, and Tucker Miller. We recognize them, and we won. We beat Arcanum, which was super exciting for senior night. And then I just made this graphic, and I know I mentioned a few of these kids at our last board meeting, but wanted to bring this up again and just recognize them again. These are our WOAC all-conference athletes for the season. So we had Savannah Beachler, she was our only first team member, and Riley Dotson was on second team for volleyball. Then we had quite a few kids receive special mention. Daphne Levy and Steven Stewart in cross country, Brooklyn Crickmore in volleyball, Gage Schaefer in golf, and then Owen Cannon and Trey Schnauzer for football. And then we did receive some further postseason honors, Southwest District. We also had Riley Dotson get second team for volleyball. Then our football guys, we had Hudson, Tucker, and Trey all on first team. Owen and Eric on second team, and Caleb, Landon, and Griffin, I believe, were special mention, I believe is what that was. So we had eight football players selected to the Southwest District team. And then we are still awaiting All-State, and we're hopeful that maybe we might get one or two on there. So, that's all I have. Any questions?
And the football team finished 5-5.
We did. And I didn't even think to put any pictures on there from our playoff game. It didn't end obviously the way we wanted it to, but I think that we were very proud to be there in general. So it was exciting. It was a really exciting year. It was an honor to be nominated, basically, yeah. Thanks, Corey. We'll take it. Listen, there's gonna be a banner in the gym, so it's fine.
He watched the size of that van and was thinking goals.
I know, and they were so cool to watch them, like so many of them in
Crazy,
sync,
for
it's
such a
nuts.
small school, they had like 100 kids in the van.
Oh, Spencer?
Yeah.
Yeah, their director is she's fantastic. There's also,
Since you occur for
No.
listen, you will.
they're, good job.
Yeah, I know.
You gotta take it.
Maria, did you have anything from the?
Two things. One was he mentioned the Explore Career Days. That's everybody, all the schools come and pick out a program they want to do some hands-on work with. That's on the 29th. I saw Bradford's attending that. And then on the 30th is their open house for everyone, and they take enrollments that night. So, and we have some new exciting things coming for our next meeting. We're just having next week, so after we vote on all that, I'll let you.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Next, Joe, give us superintendent report.
I have 3 items I'd like to share out with everyone. First of all, we had our annual Seniors Helping Seniors, or Seniors Serving Seniors, where our senior students took meals out to our community to senior citizens that wanted to order those meals. We served 63 meals out in the community, delivered to their homes. Plus they had 4 people come into the school and pick up their meals or even eat here. So thank you to Amy Gade for organizing it, and Deb DG and her crew in the kitchen for preparing everything. And of course, there were a lot of other hands that helped out putting meals together and getting them out into the community. So it was a big event. Second, we are exploring options to clean our ducts here in the district. Thanks to somebody in our community here. We've had our ducts tested, and we are air tested and dust tested. We're looking at what those expenses are. We've got one quote back, and it was significantly higher than I thought it was going to be. So we didn't go with that yet, but we're getting other quotes and seeing what it's going to take if we need to go through and get those cleaned and sanitized. And then the third thing, I'm very excited to share with you blueprints for a concession stand. Each of you board members should have one of those printouts in your packets. If anybody would like one, you're welcome to stop by the office. I'll print one out for you. This is something that when we went to voters last November, a year ago, we didn't have in our scope. We didn't think there'd be money for it. We didn't think there'd be anything in our finances to be able to handle this. Since then, we've changed directions just a little bit to include a separate concession stand and set of restrooms. because we did find some grant funding to hopefully build this. And I don't want to say completely under the grants, but if everything comes in at budget or under, we should be able to handle that within a grant or two. So we're hoping that this all comes true without general dollars coming out into it. But we are excited. This is the rendition we just got back from our engineer actually today. And it shows the restrooms on the, basically this would be on the southwest corner of the track, if you will. So over on the home side, and it'll be close to everything. We've had the boosters working with us, representatives there going through the concession stand, making sure we've got adequate space for this and that. We took the amount of space we have over on the concession stand across the road and added a little bit to it. So we hope that what we've got is something that will be large enough even for expansion down the road. So plenty of space for that. So we're excited about this. The goal is if the grant's going to be utilized for it, it has to be built before June 30th. So we've got fairly ambitious time schedule with this one, but if this all works, I think it's going to be a great addition to our facilities.
So would this be where the option 5 is that south? And then the top of it, the north?
Yes.
How does it go?
Well,
It should, my kids, I would think.
If this, okay, I don't know how easy this is to see. Here's the track. It actually would go around here. It would be right here.
Oh, so it kind of sits diagonal.
Yeah.
Don't you
score-
have a picture of the track that you can put up there on the, you do have.
By the scoreboard.
It would
Okay.
be
Yeah.
just off of the
Right there.
screen right here.
Okay, so it doesn't
Okay.
run north and south, they kind of
No,
little.
it's going to be at an angle
Okay,
almost facing directly at the visitors bleachers,
okay.
if that makes sense.
Mhm. Yep. I was just curious. I didn't know which way we were going in and.
And that's probably something I should have shared.
That's okay.
There's an overview here in the big plans that shows where it goes, but that wasn't something I did, so I'm sorry. So that being said, that is all I had to share tonight, unless anybody has questions.
Really quick, Coach Bannister texted me. I said it wrong. Can you please go back to the,
I thought they were all second teams.
no, so Hudson, Tucker, and Trey were first team, and Owen, Keener, Caleb, Griffin, and Landon were second team. So I just wanted to correct myself because he texted me.
That's how it was
Said,
posted.
that's wrong.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, so, welcome, Nick, I fixed it, so,
Is-
sorry, boys, I said it wrong. But
I
yes.
would like to add to you, talk about the seniors, serving seniors. We had our Bradford Association of Churches Thanksgiving meal on
Oh, yeah.
Sunday free. And we had a lot of students volunteer to deliver.
Good.
So we had high school students along with community members, but I know Tegan and Laney Cannon, I think Remy and Vivian and the three Parliaments, I think. And there were some high school kids up there helping with that too. And they just
Great.
volunteered their time.
Okay.
So that was nice of them.
Yes, they're good kids.
I have a question. I don't know if this is a hand raising situation.
Go for it.
With the concession stand, did you say that would all be grant money?
That's the way it is right now, yes.
And then
As
if that
long as we
comes
don't
through,
go
it
over
has
the
to be-
budget, yes.
It has to be finished by June 3.
June 30. Yep. And I will also say, as soon as this gets rolling and we start breaking ground, we will work on the other building. So I know there's been questions. I don't know if there's been a lot of questions, but I don't want people to think that we haven't started that. We've
Or that
already
this is
started
the all-purpose
putting it
building.
together, right? This is not the
Yeah.
alternative.
Right.
This is an addition to it.
Right.
So.
That's probably good to let.
That's definitely making sure that it's not in place. So,
It's
You need to get concessions back on the home side, which is.
yes, it'd be nice for our home folks to be able to get close. So,
Next, Carla, do you have long presentation from.
I have been told I don't have a long presentation. And that's fine, because I said I can talk very quickly, but there's a couple of things I want to highlight. And Mr. Hurst wasn't sure I could handle this technology, so I might have to pass it over to him. But I'm going to talk a little bit about this. The 5-year forecast is something that we're required to do in November and May of each year to the state of Ohio, so they have some idea that we are running the ship correctly. This gives them an opportunity to look at how we're operating fiscally and to see whether or not we are in a comfort zone. And also, it's really something that's necessary for us, because it gives us some guidance. It makes us think about things that if you were not doing this, you wouldn't think about. Just like ESSER's money. We have had ESSER's money and consciously didn't do a lot out of general fund. We tried to do additional things that the district might not have been able to do otherwise, just because we didn't want to change the numbers and the dynamics of what we were doing in the district. And it's given us some opportunities to do some things. But as you can see, and that we have a projection downward, because one of those reasons is that we have had the new school plan funding that has come through. And I am only projecting an increase in fiscal year 24 and 25 because we have no idea what the biannual budget is going to be after that. So it's basically flatlined. We get what's called a 70% state share. We're a district that is very much influenced by the amount of money that we've received from the state. And I've told you before that we've had some changes as we go through this, and I don't know if you can see this. If you look on this chart, what we get from state sources is almost 60%. And I talked about the 70%, but we are getting some additional monies coming in locally that's even outside of the grants that we get, that has made our state share actually go down, even though the dollars are not going down. So we've been able to increase the general fund. I've got a projection of around, I believe it says there 8.7, almost 8.8 million. And back in 2021, I think the same number was a little over 7 million. So we've increased our revenues. We've found ways to increase what we're doing, and that's how we've been able to accomplish a lot of the things that we have going on here in the district. This just is some basic graphs, shows you the amount of local revenue versus state revenue. And see, Bob, I'm clicking quicker than you thought I would. And this is some reading. This is just basically talking about some of the notes that I have to prepare. I don't know if any of you had a chance. I didn't get this to you as early as I would have liked, but there's a 23-page document where I have several writings explaining how the funding works here, explaining our expenditures, explaining just how we do things in this district. And one of the things that I have in this in this project that we're talking about, this forecast, is that I'm waiting on results of the appraisal from Darke County, because we're about half and half with the appraised values. Well, at 5:57 tonight, I see that I got the numbers in, and I want to look at that, because I know one of the things is that we have a higher appraisal, so our real estate taxes should be taking an increase. I have some of that built in, but I'm anxious to see how much of a change that's going to be. But once again, in this district, real estate taxes aren't the main driver of what we do here. It mostly comes from the state. So even though that may be some increases for some of the people in the area, and I hope not too much, it's not going to be a driver of what we do out here. Investments. Our investments have been doing extremely well in the last year. And I can't see that trend continuing, but it's given us some extra dollars to do things. One of the things that you're gonna see on the board agenda tonight is the dishwasher that's being purchased by food service. Part of the reason she's had some increased funds is because it's a federally allocated fund. I have to allocate interest to her each month. That interest is helping her buy that dishwasher. So it's been a benefit for almost everybody in the district, and we've just had some very positive things. School district income tax last year was an anomaly. It had, I believe it was a 22% increase. It was extremely high, and now it's back online. So if you call the state, you can't find out exactly what happened with that, but there had to be some anomaly in the school district that created that. Esther's money, I talked about that. That is going away as of June 30th. We are very judiciously looking at how we're going to do the best with that money. We've got some allocated out for curriculum, some for the areas that we've talked about, and we're continuing. We did a good thing in being able to manage our budget. We went out and did the certificates of participation, which is helping fund some of the items that we have out there. It was at a good interest rate. I'm actually making more money off of the money that I have remaining in that than what we have. So it's been a positive for us financially in the way it's worked, but we'd like to get some of these things. I think Mr. Hurst alluded to that. We're trying to wrap up everything on the project with the track, because we actually did many more things than we'd originally talked about in doing that. And we have a complete track now, which we weren't anticipating where we would be with that. But in doing that, we also had a situation where we were looking to, how many dollars we had to reserve for this building. And we have a budget number now for the building that I feel pretty comfortable with. We just got to see if post-COVID dollars are gonna shine for us when we go to construct this. We've just got to see what these bids are going to come in, because we're not getting the best numbers on what we're potentially seeing, but we'll just forge ahead and see what we can do with that. This, once again, that's the operating expenditures. Talk about that our wages and benefits are actually a lower percentage, but that's because we've increased our revenue, not because we're paying less. Our wages are going up, but we've been able to bring some other income in. So that's just been one of those things we've been very positive with. Once again, another graph shows the cash balance going down, but we make adjustments as we go. We try to get grants, we take care of those things, but I can't project that we may get those. But we have been working very hard on some of those situations. That's escalating fringe benefit costs. That is predominantly because of health insurance, and that's just something that's been very difficult to control. And we're working, trying to do wellness situations and trying to make things better, but it's just not always a controllable situation from our standpoint. And this just talks about the cash balance, talks about open enrollment, and through this whole forecast, we've got 60 days of cash balances. There are certain criteria that we have to follow for the state, and if we don't follow those, we've got to find ways to adjust to do that. So we're holding our own on this, but we're working through it, and we make adjustments each year. So that's one of the reasons why you see this forecast come back to you every year, to try to get an idea of where you stand as a district. And just talked about deficit spending is avoided in fiscal year 23, but it occurs in 25 through 28. This just goes back and tells a little bit of what I've been talking about. And this is something that, this is a statement that is just from me. And it's the way I feel about education. I've always been of the opinion in education that you can't let too much money sit in your coffers, because then you've deprived the children that you're currently serving. There's a fine line between making sure that you're equitable to every student that comes through the school and trying to be fiscally responsible. That's just a philosophy I have. I'm very blessed to have Mr. Hurst, who also has that same philosophy, and then we work well together. And this is just part of what I think we deal with on a daily basis and think about consciously all our decisions that we make. So I tried to get as fast as I could, Bob, without letting anything go, but actually, thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
No, but I was glad when I finally could pull that up, your email, and that was good reading material for bedtime. I was like,
Yeah.
What is this? Who asked for this?
Did you make it through the third page?
I made it a little further.
Yeah, I put pictures in there to make it a little better.
Corey, did you have a question?
I did, and it was about 14 pages back.
Bob wouldn't let me show all this.
Keep going. Wait.
Too far?
No, back. Wait. One more. One more back. Back.
I don't know which way back is anymore.
I don't know either. To
I
the
think you're
left.
going the right way.
So it was when you keep going. One more, that wrong way. Right, that's okay. You were talking about the investments and whatnot.
Yes.
I was just wondering if you could elaborate a little on, how that's diversified and in what areas the investments are. Does that make sense?
Well, basically, right now, I invest in Star Ohio. I invest in treasury bills. When the interest rates, I watch the treasury bills weekly and look at the length of the treasury bills predominantly, because that's the safest investment out there. And we can legally invest in that. I take enough training each year that I can invest in those items. I do not do commercial paper. I will not do certain things because I just don't philosophically want to take that chance for the school district, even though it's legal. So predominantly Star Ohio, certificates of deposits, and the treasury bills and treasury notes on a short-term basis. I can't invest very long-term. That's just not something that's permissible for me by law.
So then you're looking for like a much shorter, the highest rate of return, but in a shorter period of time.
Yes, and what I normally do, if you look at, I'm turning this money over quite a lot, and as I start to have total fear of the Federal Reserve and what they're going to do, which I'm trying to monitor that. When I start to see it go down, I'll probably try to get out there in a little longer term maturities, but I've been doing very well with what I've been doing here and just doing the shorter term options. And I flip back and forth between the 13 and 17 and 26 week. There's just several things I'm working with on it as I go through that. So you can come to my office and I'll show you all these numbers if you'd like sometime.
Sounds riveting, you should do that. Monday.
I gotta finish reading that.
Yeah.
And I did want to mention quickly, if Bob will let me, I was able to attend some of OSBA, and I always, I went to a farm to school conference that was very, very good. We're looking at trying to do this grant where it involves food service, involves our FFA, and maybe some of the other students in the district, and growing fruits and vegetables. And then I spent my time running around the vendor fair. Some of those people teaching me things, and some of them I was teaching, because I'm waiting on our $40,000 rebate on our school bus. And I had to show the I had to show Cardinal where you went into the IRS to be able to register so we can get that. And he says, does everybody get that? I said, you need to be looking at that. I have my tax form out. I'm ready to go. We are allowed to get a rebate back on those buses. So that's some of the reasons we've done some of what we've done is just because our financial investment is very low, and it gives us a chance to actually work with some of these things and see if they're viable. But it was very good, the chance I had at OSBA this year to talk to a lot of people. And I will conclude at that point.
Bob, did you have any questions?
No.
If no other questions, then next is public participation.
We have none.
We have none. So the next, I'll turn the meeting over to Carla to give us the financial overview for the treasury reports, which we will be approving.
Okay, financial journals, check register, then announce certification, transfers and advances, permanent appropriations, are all typical items. We had a donation from Gordon and DeSantis Orthodontics to go for an award to Mrs. Reed, a donation from Daryl and Kathy Gamble in the amount of $175 for the lunch program, an award of $3,600 for the Ohio K-12 Network Subsidy and Building Tech Grant, and a resolution for the fiscal year 2025 tax budget, which I will not read in its entirety. The recommend approval of the 5-year forecast, recommend approval to apply for the fiscal year 24 Ohio Attorney General School Law Enforcement Technology Linking Safety Grant in the amount of $30,000. Recommend approval to apply for the 2024 EPC Wellness Grant Program in the amount of $2,550. Recommend approval to apply for the National School Lunch Program Equipment Grant for the purpose of 23-24 Equipment Assistant Grant Funding, and she's looking at a new serving line.
Super. Thanks. We have a motion to approve the items.
So moved.
Thanks, Scott. And a second. Thanks, Trey. Any discussion or questions from Carla? None, roll call for approval.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Biesecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel.
Yes.
So we have no old business this evening. Our new business items are listed 1 through 12. And I'll turn it over to Joe to give us an overview of what we'll be approving.
Certainly. In 1A, I wanted to make sure, we had Tracy and Deb down for hire, but we didn't say they were going to be ticket takers. So
That was my next question.
it ought to be on there. So we'll make that change adjustment when we do the minutes, but I wanted to make sure you guys knew what they were. I'm going to skip down a couple to number 4. We were talking about the Board of Trustees through the library for Sharon Moore. Congratulations, Sharon. Hope everything goes well there. Number 6, Miami County Foundation was gracious enough to give us $10,248 this year through the fall grant cycle to help us with a digital information center, which will be voted on number 12, and some concrete hardscaping around our baseball complex out here. Number 8, we've got an MOU going into effect with our Head Start program to complete a grant that, if everything goes well, we'll have a set of restrooms for them and a separate entryway into the Head Start area. Classroom, again, by June 30th, everything seems to circle around that date. Number 10, we've got a contract with Shoreline Power to hook our existing generator into power the coolers, our doors, mag doors, and a few other tech pieces around the district. Things that we noticed when we had the electric out for a period of a day and a half last year. We noticed that didn't operate those things. So I don't know why the coolers wouldn't work with the generators. So the generator has enough power to do it. We just need to move that electric panel around or add an electric panel to do this. Number 12 is exactly what we were talking about with the Miami County Foundation to buy the kiosk or digital information center to put in the hallway. We'll be able to download all of the composites in the hallway. We'll be able to put in academic awards and athletic awards and records and history of our district and distinguished alumni bios and things like that into this kiosk touchscreen TV where somebody will be able to go up and say, I want to know when Bob Daugherty graduated from Bradford. So they can type in Bob and search and say, okay, he graduated in what, 1847?
With hair.
With hair. He was valedictorian and he ran track and won all sorts of awards. So we can put all that into it. So hopefully it's a very productive and very useful piece for our district. So we're excited about that. So that being said, I will answer any questions if you have them.
We have a motion to approve the
So
presentation
then,
and a second.
Second.
Thanks, Trey. Any discussion, questions, or clarifications?
Corey had a question.
I don't know if this is a question. Number 11, I was just
Yep.
confused.
Brooke Fair is currently employed as a long-term sub with us, and she's working on a license.
Oh.
So she's been, Ohio Revised Code basically says once she's in that place for 60 days in the same position, she moves to Bachelor 0 as a new teacher. And then when she finishes up her license, then she moves over permanently. But for now, as a long-term sub, that's where she's going. Anything else?
Anything else? Not roll call for approval?
Mrs. Hill,
yes?
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel.
Yes.
And next is item 13 by itself, which is approving the Hobart dishwasher for $57,000 from the food service account as a federal purchase, meeting the requirements of the board policy and Bradford procurement procedures. Anything else to add to that?
It's coming out of kitchen funds. She's got it. It's the original dishwasher to the school, so it's 20 plus years old. It's time.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And it's leaking.
A lot.
Have to fix it. Motion to approve for the dishwasher.
So moved.
Trey, it's got a second. Any discussions or questions? Not roll call for approval?
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Abstain.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel.
Yes.
I should have said their goal is to put this in over Christmas break. So that's the goal. I'm not saying it's happening, but that's the goal.
Next is a construction item. So if you have anything to give us.
Yeah, I'll give you an overview on this. The number 14, 15, and 16 are closing out those three contracts with Heiberger Paving, which did the top layer of the track. Southern Bleacher, of course, did the home bleachers, and Shoreline Power Services did all the electric. We are still waiting on a few closeout documents there with warranties and those type of things. So as soon as those come in, this motion will allow us to close those out. We've got a change order with Thunderbird Excavation that'll deduct $33,000 from the total bill. And the next next two are also deductions, deducting $2,500 from Southern Bleacher and $5,500 from Shoreline. When they put their bid packages together, they say, okay, we're going to put in just a little bit extra just in case there's something come up. Nothing came up, so they're giving us that money back. That's what these three, well, two of these three motions are. The other one was something that basically said they didn't do A, B, and C, so here's your money back because it didn't do it. And then number 20 is advertising for bids for the concession stand, what we just showed and talked about tonight. We want to go out and find a company and get foundations poured as quick as we can. So where we are.
Motion to approve items 14 through 20 as presented.
So moved.
Thanks, Maria. And a second.
Second.
Thanks, Helen. Any discussion or questions or further clarifications? None. And roll call for approval.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Daniel.
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is executive session for item G1 on our agenda. Motion to approve. Scott? Yeah, a second.
Second.
Thanks, Trey. Roll call for executive session.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Daniel.
Yes.
7:20, we enter an executive session, and there will be no voting or decisions made after the executive session. Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks.
Michelle, congrats. I saw the new grandbaby at the craft show.
Oh, yeah, thank
I'm like, oh, Michelle must be a grandma.
Xavier was here?
Yeah, Xavier came to the
Wow.
craft
Mhm.
And I
Yes.
got all your papers. So you're
7:40.
out of executive session at 7:40 and motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Right, second. Roll call for adjournment.
I didn't get the second on
It's
that.
gonna be Scott.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel.
Yes.
Stand adjourned. Thanks everyone for coming this evening. And one more time before year end, right?